Tim Qualls, and welcome to Advanced Siding, Windows, and Siding. I mean, it's unbelievable. These guys do everything, and I've got to add doors, too. This is Mike Shelley here with me, and when I talk about advanced windows and sidings, I add doors because you guys are putting a gorgeous, gorgeous door. I want to give that a little promotion before we go to windows, because not a lot of people realize with those, the blinds inside, you have those now at a lot lower cost.
Yeah, it's a new product entry, Tim, Force, courtesy of the Star Mark window line, which we're going to look at in a moment here, part of their vinyl window series. But Star Mark has given us a vinyl-clad entry into the internal blinds for patio doors. And short of a couple high-end wood fabricators, this wasn't an option. Now it is with Advanced Window and Siding. We're real happy to have it, and the requests are overwhelming for blinds inside their patio doors.
And at the prices you guys got them for, it's unbelievable. You need to pick up the phone and call if you're interested in that. You've been looking at the pictures that they install that into my house here. You know, now I'm going to force you to be sure and get that thing in as soon as yeah. But as we come down to it, let's talk about windows here, because siding's one of your parts, but what you guys do far beyond everybody else is, and I always say it, you do the job and you do it right. And anytime you're dealing with advanced sidings, you're there and you guys do it right.
It's the only way to do it. Tim, we're out at a job here, and we're getting footage of that, and that's firsthand testimony to doing the job the right way. Not the easiest way, not the fastest way, but the right way. We're actually at a window installation where the home has new construction windows in it, which is not uncommon to most of the jobs that we're doing, with vinyl siding on the home. What most contractors do, and most probably isn't as great a word, virtually all of them, what they'll do is they'll install the window, just a replacement window size, inside that siding. They don't want to touch the siding. But what a lot of people don't realize is when you take a look at vinyl siding is designed to have moisture travel, moisture, water, condensation, depending on the home, different levels of moisture travel through it. Vinyl siding has drain holes in it.
Yeah, because I want to, as they're looking on the screen now, as they're taking that off the way they do, because I've had, before I met you guys and had somebody else do the work, they didn't do this, Mike. They didn't do what's being done right now and taking that siding off and everything. They kind of cut the window to fit in, and I want to, before we get into it, because it's an education, folks. You don't want to go anywhere because this is very important. If I'd known that, now I'm not going to be able to sleep at nights, and I'm going to have to, but it's very important.
It is. There's two reasons why you want to do it the way that you do it, and that's the right way. One, water travels behind vinyl siding. And if water can travel behind vinyl siding, water follows the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is oftentimes the crack and crevice that is around the window. Two, if there are cracks and crevices around your windows, where do you think the cold air is going to filter through? So you're not creating a tight seal around the perimeter of the window. And that's a big problem. And that's why when you look at any window manual, in fact, AMA, which is the American Association for Materials, they state that the window installation should actually be done the way that we're doing it here.
Yeah, because I hate to interrupt you again, Mike, because you guys are watching it in progress as it's taking place here. But I want to make people understand, because when it's brand new housing, before the first windows going in, when they're building that house, this is done this way that we're talking about doing it. Now, when they come out to do the replacement, most people don't do it.
Well, what we find, Tim, and I'm going to take just a step back here, and we actually have a specimen behind us. I'll be sure not to fall off the curb. The window is actually set up with a nail flange. And this is very important. This is the way the window was installed against the house initially. But when the carpenters put these windows in, all that was on the house was the bare wood itself, and then a 2x4 framed opening. So real easily, they push this window in, and then they hopefully find all of the fastener holes that are pre-punched, and they nail the window in. This is called the nail fin. What's very disappointing is when we pull most of these windows out, there's no protective tape put over these flanges. So what we use is a 6-inch window tape, and what that's designed to do, once it is heated up, it melts and it seals against the house, and whether it be Tyvek or some type of insulation board you have on the outside of your house, you don't want to be the guy taking these windows that we put in out. In fact, the house is going to be out of its life expectancy before the window job that we do is. But once that seals, the entire perimeter is protected. Water and air, particularly cold air or hot air, depending if you're cooling or heating, they can't get in around this perimeter. And we've talked before about the outstanding glass packages that these windows have. But what's as important as the technology on the product is how advanced, really, and that's no attempt at a pun on words here, how advanced your installation team is in terms of their skill level, and are they using the right techniques?
Yeah, when you say that, because I hate to interrupt, Mike, because with the education here, but I want to show, if you look at the picture, even on the window here, as we were placing that, Mike, we noticed that there, it's,
It's around on the trucks. This isn't something we're doing for the sake of television. This is what we do every day.
And that's what I told, the most important thing you folks got to understand out there when you're looking at this is you want the job done right. And I do it, and I want to mention your sister company right now, if I could, through Coons Roofing. We talk about the same deal, just being sure the job is done right. Weigh it in, because you can find people that can, and when we talk about it, we can find people that can put siding on your house at lower prices. You find people that put windows in at lower prices, but are they doing it right? First of all, are they buying the right window? Your windows have got the guarantees. That's what you got, the things you got to look at, the glass. We try to educate. This is another thing with installation, and this isn't something that you guys just said, okay, let's start doing this. From day one, this is what it calls for. This is what you guys do.
That's a fact. Tim, there's no shortage of competition in my industry. In fact, you could look under the heading siding in the Yellow Pages or windows in the Yellow Pages. Gosh darn, you're going to find probably 100 or more under either category. But what I don't want people out there to think is that advanced window and siding is so darn expensive you got to remortgage the house to afford us. We are a great value to a homeowner. We're not the most expensive guy in town. We're certainly not the cheapest. But you can't do all the things that we do the right way with premier product, with premier installers, and be the cheapest guy in town. But we're not the most expensive, and that's what's discouraging to us is, we see ourselves really taking a whole lot of time here. The fact is, Tim, that we arrived at 8:30 this morning. With the manpower we have here, if we did this home as a basic replacement window installation, it's midday right now. It's 11:45. We'd be done by now. Competitors of mine, which are charging higher prices, are doing it just that way. They're not worrying about the siding and sealing the area around the window. They're popping the window in. They're going and their hands out asking for their completion check. Now, that homeowner did not get good value. I'm really concerned with not only delivering great service, product installation, but good value, all right? We understand that our clients, they work real hard for their money, and we value that. We're hard-working folk ourselves. So we are a very good value as well.
Yeah, and that comes from the top all the way down through the entire organization. I got to say,
Starts at the top.
Yeah, and it really does, and they do care. They truly do. I can still reflect back to the first time that I met anybody. It happened to be with a sister company from Coons Roofing. The guy had some problems out there. Most companies I was getting bids like everybody should do. I mean, but when you're getting bids, one thing I found out is be sure that you get a bid comparing what they're going to do compared to what this one's going to do or that one's going to do, and that's where it make them do the job right. If they do the job right, then nobody can do it better than what you and more cost effective than what you guys can.
Yeah, people talk about apples to apples, and even apples to apples being said, Tim, you'd be amazed that a lot of folks out there, they're good estimate writers, meaning they know how to confuse the estimate to make it even look and appear as if it's apples for apples. But when push comes to shove and the job gets time to get set up, unless you know exactly what each product is and how it performs and how to identify it, right, and how that product's to be installed, more times than not, you're not getting what you think or thought that you were going to get when that contract was consummated. You're really not.
We hear the nightmares, and we don't have to talk about it, and that's a big concern on you guys because it reflects on your industry and gives that reputation to everybody in the industry. But when you see advanced folks, this is not something just set up for TV or anything like this. This is what you guys and how you guys approach jobs. When you come out on location to do work, it's always top of the line. And when they're now you see them up here now, they're going to finish this job not today.
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days on this job. And when they're finished with this tonight, you would not know that anybody was even on this property because they're not going to leave the stuff for tomorrow. They're going to take everything and get it out. Everything's going to be cleaned out.
That is a fact. We pride ourselves in leaving the job site cleaner than it was before we got started, all right? Now, I'm sure that there's some housekeepers out there that are going to, they test me on that, and that we get a good joke out of that. But the truth of the matter is that we very much so attempt to leave it cleaner than when we got started. And Gary and Doug and myself, we're the people that you see on camera, but the real people that make it happen are the people back in the office behind the scenes, our great estimators, and our outstanding installation staff. Problem is, the people at home don't get to meet them because they're at this point a little camera shy still, Tim. And I'm a ham. I don't mind getting on camera. But as we move forward here with the shows, I'd like for everybody to get a chance to meet some of those great people. And again, it's the whole team.
They can't hide from us right now because one of your best guys happens to be on this job site. He's on camera right now.
Maybe Tim can talk one of these guys into getting on camera. But I've already tried before we got started, and they're all scared to death.
Well, I'll just go up and just start talking to him. He won't know he's on camera. They'll think he's shooting B-roll. But because you got some great guys on your team, and they're so polite and everything. I'll never forget. There again, I got to reflect back to when you guys did some work at my house. I mean, it's just amazing, and it wasn't because we knew each other or anything else at the time. I mean, it's just the way they handled themselves. I mean, and I see that on every job site we go to. And testimonials, folks. If you want testimonials, I've talked to a lot of your customers. We've shown a lot of them on the different shows. We can get those one right after another, but it's just it's satisfaction and keeping that customer, because as well as I do, today that siding's in pretty good shape that's on this house, but tomorrow you don't know. Today it's the windows, tomorrow it's something else.
Absolutely. This job site where we're at here today and filming from, Tim, realistically. While this is midday and there's not a lot of people around, but this job is really a postcard or a billboard, if you will, for our next job. The sign's out front. We don't hide who we are. We don't come in without a sign, incognito, with unmarked vehicles. This is who we are. This is what we're doing, and we know that our next customer looks just like the one that we're working for today. So odds are, if you see an Advanced Window and Siding sign on your lawn, some of the neighbors are going to be calling because they see a crew that's clean, neat, efficient. We get in, we get out, and the houses look fantastic when we're done.
Yeah, and you're proud to have that sign out there once when the people and the homeowners as well, when they see the work that you guys do, because they were going to pass it on. I see so many neighborhoods where you guys just do one house right after the other. I mean, because usually when things are happening to houses, I've noticed in my neighborhood, I don't know if you noticed in your neighborhood, air conditioner goes bad, everybody's air conditioner goes bad. And it's kind of like right now you're putting new windows in this house. It's going to need it everywhere.
Tim, it's back to your next customer just looks like the one that you're working for. And that's also testimony to when you get that many jobs in a neighborhood, it's not by price gouging and being overpriced. That's by being reasonable and being a fair value that you can end up really spreading your wings in one specific neighborhood and going on and on and on and on.
It amazes me as we're sitting here, because you're watching. I'm looking this way. You're kind of looking over my shoulder. But as we're sitting there, while you were talking just now, I got a chance to look back, and these guys are. They've already put in another window. I mean, so it doesn't take long, and not that your guys are going to be there longer than most.
Exactly. Tim. It's steps, and make no mistake, our guys are very efficient. Something that we should probably touch on that I haven't talked about in the past is the amount of tenure that most of the guys who are on our installation teams have. In fact. Doug and Dave, who are on this site, have been with the company. I think Dave's probably coming up on 10 years, and Doug's probably just about 8 by now. And, those length and tenures, they don't sound like a whole lot, but I'll tell you what, in this industry, that is like putting in 60 at DuPont, all right? It really is, because
everybody wants to go out and do it themselves.
Absolutely. And that is, again, that's testimony to Doug and Gary. They pay a fantastic, great wage. Our Installers families have benefits. They have retirement plans and vehicles in place. The right tools are on the site. Steady work because we're very stable. People want to work for Advanced Window and Siding. In fact, I take the calls every day. I get mechanics and different crews wanting to get on board into our roofing division each day because people know that we're fair, that we pay. I mean, a lot of people in this business, Tim, in Star-wise, they have a hard time getting paid. That's
and then there again, as we talk about from top to bottom, I mean, you mentioned them both, Doug and Gary both. I mean, fantastic individuals, family people. They're and then that's what's important. But I always say you can tell how a company is with its customers by how it is with its employees. And you work for these guys, and so I mean, you've worked your way to where you're at today with the company, and you wish you was going back because you didn't have to work so hard. But that's what in a year's time I've watched you turn gray here on us, Mike. But it's
you can go back and check the footage. You guys do those before and after shots. I better not see that one in this shot. An old show with me with more black hair, but
because you have aged on us in a year's time. But when you've taken on more responsibility, but at the same time that means you got more in comfort in your home as well.
Oh, for sure. And you really couldn't ask for two better people to work for. Certainly, a career, advanced man. The company I've witnessed firsthand it grow over the course of the last 8 or 9 years myself. And realistically, what's important, while it doesn't sound like much, to people considering having their improvements done by a place where everybody gets along in the workplace, but believe it or not, ultimately it goes a long way to determining the bottom line, the efficiency, the stability of the company. And certainly we're running the show here to toot our own horn, so to speak, but there's nothing that's coming out of my mouth that's not completely true. Everybody gets along. And, I'd like to say we're one big happy family, and we think of our customers that way as one big happy family.
And Doug's mentioned it, Gary's mentioned it both. As other customers come on, they become family. They truly do. And we've talked about that time and time again. But I want to get back because this is important for those people that might be turning in. And we're not just sitting here and blowing our horns about there was a purpose in this week's show, and we're going to try, as Mike pulls his hair out, I think I gave you quite a few of those gray hairs because each show we try to do, you want to educate more and more because it's very important. Education is what people need, not so much who do you use and stuff like that, but being sure they do it right. In today's show, we're kind of educating on installation of windows, not necessarily the window themselves. We know Star Market and what a great quality window. We've shown that in past shows and things like this, but this is the guys that's actually putting in the window and how they put in the window show. And when we talk about that, let's go back to step one because the guys are still working. They started from scratch and they do it right, Mike.
Yes. Step one on a AMA certified installation is to remove whatever siding or exterior coverings around the perimeter of that window, so you can completely remove the window and its components. And as I mentioned earlier, typically all we find is a nail flange that has some random nails through it. You then expose that opening completely. Now, what we are doing in this case is we are leaving the jambs inside of the house intact, and we're installing this window up against it. What we also offer, because like Starmark, we also are a very proud Andersen dealer. And with Andersen windows, this window, and you can see here, I'll pull it out, the depth of this window is still fixed at 4 9/16 inches, or excuse me, 3 1/4 inches. It's the depth of a replacement window. What we can also do is take out everything that the homeowner sees, not only the face trim, but the jamb, the sill and all inside. This is a replacement. So this is going to slide in. We're going to completely seal around the exterior. And then this replacement depth is going to go up against the existing drywall, in the case of this home, or jamb. And then we put a nice piece of finished prime coat around on the inside with a very subtle bead of paintable latex caulk. And the homeowner can come and just touch up that paint. Or we can do natural coat arounds if people are standing around their windows. But either way, you can do it. This happens to be a maintenance-free vinyl in the Starmark series. And one of the things that I'm quick to point out is that amongst vinyl window products, the U factor, which is the ultimate scorecard for windows in general, is outstanding. It's a 0.27. The majority of competitive windows in this genre are 0.30 or greater. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually as much as a 15% difference in efficiency. That means a lot.
And when you're talking about it, I mean, I'm just sitting there looking at this, and as you educated me now, because this is going in my house, and I'm looking at this side of it as in my house here, and I know that I've got this up against the outside part of it. It's kind of as the frame goes in with the tape around here, sealed all up and everything else. Then you look at this cushion here. There's not. I mean, you're not going to get anything coming through this window.
Zip, zero, zilch. I mean, it is going to be warm and tight. And we have had homeowners, and I think I've touched on this before, but we've had homeowners who have written us letters and told us they have reduced their energy costs as much as 45%. On average, 30%.
You guys, we see the ads. People see the ads all the time that you have running right now with you standing there and offering.
Yeah, 40%. With the Star, we're just referring to double pane. With the Star Mark triple pane product, we guarantee you're going to save 40% on your energy bills, or we're going to pay you your money back.
Yeah, when you're talking about that, everybody knows that the energy bills have gone up. If you want them to go back down to where they were, that's about what they've gone up.
You're right, Tim. I met with a family who is on the verge of not really even being able to afford to stay in their home. It's a home in North Wilmington. It's a split-level home. They heat their home with oil, and their energy bills each month this winter, a modest winter, not really rough by Northeast standards, $1,000.
Well, I've heard it. I've heard it over and over again. When you add that to when you're expecting a $200 a month bill, and all of a sudden you're up to $1,000 a month. I mean, now you're struggling to pay that mortgage and stuff.
Yeah, the average person. And I'm one of them. My home has Star Mark windows in it, so I don't have those problems, and I have insulated siding and all those great things that we offer. But
I can promise you, when they did it, it was just like you would, and when the right way. That's important. That's what I want to keep reminding.
I felt for that family. Yeah. I mean, $1,000 a month energy bills. We felt that with our whole package, there was such problems at their home that we could probably save them. Probably about $500 a month if we were replacing both the windows and the siding at the same point in time. They can't afford not to.
Yeah, and when you're talking about that, and there again, and going back to your sister company, I want to throw Coons in there. When you do that as well, because I've saved tremendous since Doug come out and did the roof alone and cut the vents and everything, because they do it just like you guys do it. It's all done right. It's advanced window and side is what we're talking about, and you want to be sure, folks. I'm telling you. So if you got somebody, if you're taking bids out there and everything, when they come out. The nail flange, is this what that's?
That's a nail flange and the tape treatment. We have to remove your siding, take it apart, go back to ground zero, put it in, flange, then tape, then install the window back into its opening. But be assured, what is going to look like it costs a little bit more up front, this is an investment, and you will get a return on your investment, no question about it.
And that's what it boils down to. So be sure you're getting the job done right. This is just how they would install. And well, like you said at the beginning of the show, this is how they're supposed to install it as they're building the homes. In most cases,
would it be any different when you're replacing
it? Yeah, and in most cases, you find that even when they build the home, they don't do the protective taping around it and things like that. So, folks, when you're replacing windows, be sure you get that there, because that's the key. I can see that as being the key, because a lot of folks know you go down to the bottom of your window where the plate is, and you hold your hand underneath that, and you feel that nice little breeze going through. That's energy going out of the house, or and it's defeating the whole purpose of what. Yeah,
you're throwing money out the window. And we meet with a lot of people who for years have dealt with these problems, but they consulted with us. We sat down with them. They were pleasantly surprised at how affordable it was, and then they were thrilled when they were reaping in the savings.
Yeah, not to mention, you mentioned siding, too. We got to give that a little bit of plug, because you guys do that as well, and just as well as what you do with the windows, because that's done right now.
Yeah, that's going to be our next show. We're going to be going to a site where we're doing a siding job, and, stay tuned. We're going to be here coming up in the next few weeks, and thanks for watching.
Yeah, and I want to thank these guys for doing such a fantastic job. Until next time, for Mike and the entire gang, I want to say goodbye to Gary and Doug both, because we mentioned them so much in this show. Till next time, for the entire gang, we'll see you. Bye-bye.